Trick Williams wins the NXT Championship last night at the NXT Spring Break-In event. An update on the Vince McMahon lawsuit involving Janelle Grant. Roxanne Perez is still the NXT Women's Champion after retaining the championship last night at Spring Break-In. We have the ratings for Monday's edition of Raw on USA Network. Shayna Baszler makes a surprise return to NXT during Spring Break-In, and an inter-promotional match is set for tonight's edition of AEW Dynamite. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Let's start off talking about Trick Williams, the brand new WWE NXT champion. Yes, Trick Williams defeated Ilya Dragunov in the main event of Night 1 of WWE NXT's Spring Breaking Special, and he captured the NXT Championship to become the new face of the brand. It was Williams' fourth shot at Dragunov for the title, and the stipulation put forth by the former champion was that Williams would leave NXT if he lost the match. After a night of video packages showing social media support for Williams, as well as cameos from various main roster talent, and even a phone call to Williams' mother, who is currently in the hospital, Williams was able to pull off the victory with a trick shot. Dragunov dominated the first half of the match, though both men were delivering ferocious chops to one another. Dragunov went coast to coast at one point in the match, but Williams was able to kick out and gain momentum. Williams hit an H-bomb to Dragunov as well as a torpedo Moscow, but the now former champion kicked out after taking his own moves twice. Williams got Dragunov up on the barricade outside of the ring and sent him through the announce desk. They got back in the ring and Dragunov delivered two H-bombs of his own, one from the second rope, then the top. On the second move, Dragunov looked as though he hurt his wrist and took a second too long to cover the challenger. After Williams kicked out a final time, he hit the trick shot for the victory. After the match, Dragunov hugged Williams as he handed him the NXT Championship. It has been reported that Dragunov may be headed to the main roster in the 2024 WWE Draft, though he has not explicitly declared so himself, but it has been confirmed by WWE that he's going to be in the draft. He already made his first appearance on Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania 40 when he took on Shinsuke Nakamura. So what are your thoughts on Trick Williams being the brand new NXT champion? Now, a bit of an update when it comes to the Vince McMahon lawsuit. We broke you this story last night about Vince McMahon's filing a response really for the first time to this lawsuit in terms of a legal proceeding. Now, as Janelle Grant lawsuits against WWE, Vince McMahon and others continues, McMahon's counsel has filed a motion to take the matter out of the public court. According to a new filing, McMahon's attorneys have cited a section of Grant's non-disclosure agreement that states any grievances the two parties have should be settled in private arbitration as opposed to public court. McMahon's team is also categorically denying Grant's accusations, alleging that she couldn't have been grieving the death of her parents in 2019 as they died much earlier, and also stating that Grant and her then fiance's ability to live in the same building as McMahon without incident, despite the sordid nature of their alleged affair, called Grant's accusations and description of her relationship with McMahon into question. Now again, more details have since come out about that, including a response from Grant's attorney Ann Callis. According to WrestleNomics' Brandon Thurston, Grant's attorney Ann Callis had the following to say, quote, "Vince McMahon has never known a storyline that he doesn't twist to fit his own shameful narrative. Her father was in in-home hospice during his final days, where Janelle continued to care for him around the clock. Prior to his death, she had been caring for a blind, wheelchair-bound mother. Using the grief of someone who lost both her parents is an all-new level of disgusting," end quote. Now, Grant has accused McMahon, John Laurinaitis, and WWE of sexual harassment, abuse, and sex trafficking during her time as an assistant for McMahon between 2019 and 2022. The suit also mentioned various unnamed corporate officers, as well as a former UFC world champion, who was later revealed by other reports to be Brock Lesnar. We get any more details on that, of course, in the future. We'll let you know. Now, Roxanne Perez, she seemingly is now going to be involved in the WWE draft, but she is still the NXT Women's Champion. The women of NXT kicked off the developmental brand's 2 weeks of spring break-in specials, and NXT Women's Champion Roxanne Perez retained her title against former champion Lyra Valkyria and Tatum Paxley. Perez captured the gold from Valkyria at NXT's Stand and Deliver Premium Live event during WrestleMania 40 weekend in Philadelphia. The following Tuesday, Paxley who of course had turned on her friend previously, or at least her former best friend, who had been following and supporting the former champion closely, turned on Valkyria and said she was actually obsessed more with the championship than her former friend. It was revealed last week after Perez was caught talking trash about the other woman fighting it out by NXT General Manager Ava that she would be defending the title. The opening portion of the match focused more on Perez and Valkyria's battle. Perez was able to lock in a crossface on Valkyria, utilizing the move that caused her opponent to tap out at stand and deliver. Paxley came from behind and attempted to lock down her own crossface on Perez, who countered for a pin attempt, which was broken by Valkyria. Paxley very nearly had Valkyria pinned before the former champion kicked out, but Paxley continued to push on, climbing to the top rope and hitting a 450 splash onto Valkyria. Perez broke up the fall and pinned Paxley herself to retain the title. Perez, who has previously wrestled on the main roster, defeating Indy Hartwell on the Raw after WrestleMania, the champion herself has also declared for the WWE Draft, which will begin on Friday's edition of SmackDown and then conclude on Monday's edition of Raw next week. Now, speaking of Raw, this past week we got the ratings for Monday's show on the USA Network, and it has been a wonderful month for WWE in April as the promotion enjoyed successful 2 nights of WrestleMania 40 and fantastic ratings for both Raw and SmackDown coming out and into the showcase of the Immortals. Things continued to be positive for the Red brand last week, with Raw holding up well, even with slight drops from the post-Mania episode. Unfortunately, though, stiff competition led to the good times coming to an end this past Monday. WrestleNomics is reporting that Monday's episode of Raw drew 1.597 million viewers and a 0.52 in the ever-important 18 to 49 demographic. The numbers represented a notable decline in both total viewership and the demo, with the former falling 12% from last week's 1.807 million viewers, while the latter dropped 15% from a 0.61. While numbers falling following WrestleMania was to be expected, Raw appeared to have been hurt a bit more by the presence of the NBA playoffs, with Game 2 of the New York Knicks versus Philadelphia 76ers and Game 2 of the LA Lakers versus Denver Nuggets going up against the Red brand. Knicks Sixers would draw 2.945 million viewers and a 0.95 in the 18-49, while the Lakers Nuggets would draw 3.615 million and a monster 1.24. The games would also affect Raw's standing for the night, knocking it from the number 1 on cable in 18-49 down to number 3. Now, in terms of the quarter-hour ratings, these come courtesy of WrestleNomics. Shout out to them and be sure to subscribe to their Patreon service. Of course, the main story on Raw was the 14-woman Battle Royal to determine the brand new WWE Women's World Champion after Rhea Ripley was forced to vacate the title due to an injury 1 week ago. The winner was none other than the woman Ripley defeated in the opening match of WrestleMania 40 Saturday, that being Becky Lynch, who eliminated Liv Morgan to capture her 8th Women's Championship whilst in WWE. Now, Shayna Baszler, she's back in NXT, or at least she was for one night only last night, because Natalya may have Carmen Petrovic in her corner for the upcoming NXT Underground match against Lola Vice next week on night 2 of the NXT Spring Break-In special, but Vice won't be coming to the fight alone. During a contract signing ahead of the match on this week's episode, after Natalya and Vice had both signed the contract given to them by NXT General Manager Ava in the middle of the ring, Vice revealed that WWE Monday Night Raw star and 2-time NXT Women's Champion and former MMA star Shayna Baszler had been training her ahead of the fight and will be in her corner next week. Vice also has an MMA background herself, which Natalya said she respected in her promo after signing her name on the contract. Petrovic knocked the Queen of Spades out of the ring to end the segment, and Natalya sent Vice into the crowd. Natalya and Vice started feuding in NXT when the veteran answered an open challenge set forth by Vice back in March. Natalya said she was setting out to humble Vice and ended up defeating her with a roll-up pin. The feud continued to heat up after Vice took on Petrovic with Natalya in her corner and came to a head when the Raw star challenged Vice to an underground match last week. Now, initially a Raw concept created by Shane McMahon in 2020 during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, the match will see ropes around the ring removed for women to do battle. The match is supposed to give off a Fight Club-like feel, often compared to Bloodsport, and there are no pinfall victories. This will be the first ever women's NXT Underground match, with the last match with the stipulation taking place back in December when Dijak was defeated by Eddie Thorpe. And finally, an interpromotional match has been announced for tonight's edition of AEW Dynamite on TBS. And following the AEW Dynasty pay-per-view, an interpromotional match has been set for the April 24 edition of Dynamite. Over the past few weeks, talent from Stardom's promotion in Japan have been appearing on both AEW and Ring of Honor programming. One of the standouts from the company is former Wonder of Stardom champion Mina Shirakawa. She made her AEW debut, making the save for former tag team partner Mariah May, following her bout with Anna Jay on the April 10 episode of AEW Dynamite. With All Elite Wrestling coming off the heels of AEW Dynasty, the company will present an interpromotional match featuring a top Stardom talent. On April 23rd, Tony Khan announced that Mina Shirakawa will face Anna Jay in a singles match on this Wednesday's April 24 episode of Dynamite. The post reads as following, saying tomorrow, that being today, Daily's Place, Jacksonville, Florida, Wednesday night, AEW Dynamite, live nationwide on TBS, Mina Shirakawa versus Anna Jay. After saving her friend Mariah May from the Queen Slayer, Mina Shirakawa will debut in AEW versus rival Anna Jay tomorrow. This will be a rematch between Shirakawa and Jay from the March 21 edition of Ring of Honor television on Honor Club. Shirakawa will be accompanied to the ring by AEW star Mariah May for this Wednesday's bout. Also announced for Dynamite, Jon Moxley will defend the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship against Powerhouse Hobbs in the main event. But there you go, guys. That's the latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.